Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette. We're so glad you're with us today to stay curious. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of astronauts. How many astronauts, or human beings properly, are orbiting the Earth right now, today, September 19th, 2023. Let's see. Have you got to take your shoes off to count them all? How many thinks out there orbiting the Earth, Tommy Usiak? I wonder if he guesses there, Marty, let me know. We'll get to that a little bit in our program today. We got a good birthday of a veterinarian that went to space. And we are talking about the little bit about the shuttles of the month and featuring some of these astronauts today on Stay Curious. So look around here for a note that I didn't grab from, and yes, I all the time grab things and don't leave them on my desk, but I have everything here with me today. First off, I want to say hi to Marty Winkle, my co-producer. We've been doing this now for over 890 episodes. Marty, how are you, sir? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Mark. How are you?
Well, good. I'm good. I've been busy. I've been at the Titusville Area Visitors Council, that I'm on that board, and talking about the tourism industry here. And also there's like everywhere, everyone's being hit hard with inflation and the post-pandemic blues of not attracting all the people you used to attract. The whole space community is doing great here. In fact, record-breaking month again in August, where they got the latest figures. There is a 5% tax on your hotel room that goes directly to the tourism industry here, called the TDC, Tourism Development Council. And our friend Peter Kranis and his crew there have done an outstanding job at the Space Coast Office of Tourism, promoting this little peninsula here and getting our share. And we're all part of that, the American Space Museum, and things are good there. We're outreaching to more inventive ways to bring money into the museum, but we're changing the way our auctions are being done here. And that means that we're losing some immediate income from the auctions, as that's going to be just changed around a little bit to where we're not making as much money. We might, so we'll just see. But it's got our board of directors wanting us to get a fundraiser together to support our museum, and this is an annual campaign that we're going to do, and we're going to call it the Galaxy of Giving, and this fundraiser is going to begin November 1st. I was listening to my favorite jazz station locally here, and they're having a fundraiser starting this week. Everybody has fundraisers to support their nonprofit, and we're going to come up some ways, just not to take your money, but to help you, get you some astronaut swag, get you some space memorabilia, get you some books and CDs that we can offer for your kind contribution. So you're going to be hearing a lot about this, of course. Galaxy of Giving, to begin November 1st for the American Space Museum. Thank you, everybody who does contribute regularly to the American Space Museum. I'm not going to single anybody out because I'll forget them right now, but you know who you are. And whether it's $100 or $10,000, it is received with just the amount of love and appreciation that we give, because we need it all to support the birthplace of America's space program right here in this delivery room, Brevard County. We're the cradle of the space age right here, and we take that very seriously. If you are in the area and don't have anything to do tonight, drive over to Oviedo Brewing Company, and Astronomy on Tap Orlando is going to feature our museum friend, Derek Demeter. He's the planetarium director at the Emil Bueller Perpetual Trust Planetarium there in Sanford. Looking forward to seeing Derek. And Christina Moratis is a professor at, I think, UCF there. And so they're going to talk about some of the subjects that's dear to their heart there. So that is it. I'm going to talk about the new James Webb Telescope there, and moon photo bombs, the sun. So Derek's going to talk about solar eclipse photography there, which we've got a partial eclipse of the sun that people are going to be talking about on October 17th, just a month away. All right. And that is going to be the next new moon. And we'll talk about why that's going to happen here in a minute when I put a graphic up there. So if you ain't got nothing to do, show up in Oviedo, and I'll be happy to see you there, and we'll see some good astronomy presentations there. These astronomy on tap are popular all over in any of the big cities of our country. Good place for you to go, just hang out if you're interested in learning about a telescope, or just wanting to get spacey with a bunch of people like yourself. All right, Marty, let's put on the birthday hat and have a happy birthday to this gentleman, Richard Linehan. And Richard Linehan is 67 years old today. No, he's 66. Four-time shuttle astronaut, born September 19th, 1957 in Lowell, Massachusetts. I call him the only veterinarian to go to space as a graduate of the Ohio State University. Of course, I'm looking for my Buckeye hat here. Where'd the prompt? That wardrobe prompt person keeps trying to hide my hat here, Marty. But yeah, he's a Buckeye, and I'd love to be corrected on things. We put this on Facebook. Linehan's got 59 days in space, 6 spacewalks, and I said not bad for the only veterinarian to go to space. Graduate of OSU in 1985. Thank you, Don Senda, for correcting me, as we do want to be right. He reminded me that Dr. Martin Fettman, who flew on Columbia in 1993, would technically be the first veterinarian in space, as he had a degree in veterinary medicine from Cornell. And Martin Fettman, occupation is pathologist. So he's got a degree in veterinary and was up there 3 years before Linehan was, it looks like. So technically, yep, Linehan's the second one up there, but so he's the first one that his occupation is veterinarian. But thank you, Don Senda. I occasionally say things wrong, like calling Enterprise Endeavor on the alt tests, as another correction that he sent me a couple weeks ago. So, yep, I don't operate with a script in front of me. I'm pretty much off the top of my head and the top of my Buckeye hat there. There you go. That's what it looks like, Dave Stange. Okay, a Buckeye leaf right there. So he's a Michigander up there rooting for the big blue. And then we got the Go Green up there, Michigan, the Spartans of Michigan State with Bill Whiting. So, all right, here is our spacewalker, Richard Linehan, 66 years old today, 3 times on Columbia in STS-78. And 90, the Nero Lab in 1990, and 109, the Hubble Service Mission 4, and once on Endeavour, an ISS hard hat mission. 123, Marty, I would love to talk to him. He had 3 very interesting missions there. Hubble, Nero Lab, hard hat mission at the space station. He is now a management astronaut, no longer eligible for flight assignments. And of course, he's involved with animal care and use on space missions, among his other duties. A perfect person for that. We wish Richard Linehan a happy 66th birthday today. And also wish this guy on the far left, Bob Seek, our board member, launched 57 shuttles as a launch director. That's Kay Hired, who he launched, and myself talking to the two of them at a luncheon that I'm privileged to attend once a month. Bob's usually at it, and Kay crashed it. Bob Seek, well, I'm not going to say how old Bob is, except he's an octogenarian, Marty, and always looks good. Always great to see Bob. He's done a hell of a lot for our American Space Museum, including being our treasurer for a long time on there. So Bob Seek, hope you had a wonderful birthday, buddy. Well, a little bit of moonlights up in the sky, and I talked on our astronomy Stay Curious, staying Star Curious yesterday about the 3 stars that are called the Summer Triangle. Yes, we've still got 3 days of summer left till we hit the autumnal equinox. I think it's in the middle of the morning on September 22nd. Of could be wrong about that. It could be the 21st, but it's always one of those 2 days when the Earth is in a position where the tilt of the Earth, and I'm going to grab this like my old school teacher had, the tilt of the Earth is tilted on my school teacher's desk, and that's why we have the seasons, okay? And we don't have summer in the northern hemisphere in July and August because we're closest to the sun. We're actually furthest from the sun. We're in July. We're closest to the sun in January, and then it has to do with the tilt of the axis. And in January, we're tilted away, and the sunlight is hitting us indirectly. And when the summertime, we're on the other side of the sun, and it's hitting us more directly on our hemisphere. So down under with our friends down there like Cliff Watson, it's good. They're looking forward to ending winter down there and beginning spring. Okay. And wanted to mention that in the seasons, as we the equinoxes are equal day and equal night. So we're experiencing now about sunrise at 8 o'clock and sunset at 8 o'clock, okay? And that's going to start getting where the night is dominating, and amateur astronomers like me are going, hooray, we can get outside and do some stargazing at 8 o'clock after supper and get in bed by, a decent hour, instead of, it doesn't even get dark in the summer, of course, as you know, till 9:30 or 10 o'clock. So you with outdoor activities are going to start moving them inside, and we that love stargazing are going to go outside. Well, as you saw the moon in the sky yesterday, it is 4 days old today, and this is something we've talked about before with the phases of the moon. And I didn't put up the image there that's got the phases of the moon on them daytime. To talk like an amateur astronomer, you say, how old is the moon? Well, the moon is it's almost 5 days old today. So I'd go 5 days old. Well, that's a crescent in the evening sky. If I said it was 22 days old, that would be the crescent on the far left. That would be in the morning sky where you would see the moon. If I say the moon is 14 days old, it's full moon. As the moon phases are 28 and a half days, so basically astronomers say 28 days, and a 14-day moon is the full moon. 0 is new moon, all right? And it's only during a new moon that we can have an eclipse of the sun that we're going to be talking about, because that's what we don't see the moon, because it's between the earth and the sun in the daytime. And it's either above the sun or below the sun most of the time. But about once a year, it passes in front of the sun somewhere around the Earth's globe. All right. So we always have an eclipse of the sun somewhere. Well, the eclipse of the sun everyone's going to be talking about a month from now, October 17th, is what we call an annular eclipse, or a ring of fire. The moon is further away from us, so it's smaller. Remember they talk about that big supermoon? That's because the moon is about 230,000 miles away, and it's technically as close as it can get to us during that year of full phases, so it's a supermoon. It's the difference in size is a 10-inch pizza to a 10.5-inch pizza. That's the only difference in the size of the moon, all right? You would not detect it with your naked eye. But when it's further away, like 260,000 miles away, then it's smaller, all right? So it'd be like about a 9.5-inch pizza instead of a 10-inch pizza, and doesn't cover up the whole Earth, which is just a mere coincidence that the moon at 240,000 miles away average, at 2,000 miles across, covers up the sun that is 800,000 miles across and 93 million miles away. There's something that made that happen, so we could experience the wonder of solar eclipses and lunar eclipses too. So anyway, that is the phases of the moon. To talk like an astronomer is to say, well, it's going to be 7 days old, the moon, on Friday, Marty, and you look on your calendar and that's first quarter. 7 days is first quarter, all right, because that's a quarter of 28 days. Full moon is 14 days. Third quarter is 14 plus 7, 21 days old. So there you have it. There you have our beautiful moon as photographed during its phases of the moon there. We call that line between night and day the terminator. Nothing to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay? Our terminator on Earth we call twilight. You get it? The terminator of the Earth marches quickly around every 24 hours. It takes 28 days for the terminator of the moon to march around. So, Marty, you know what I'm going to be looking for in a couple of days in the moon down there at the South Pole is that India rover and stationary lander were put to sleep, and they're going to start getting exposed in about 3 days. I think it's around the 23rd. They're going to be exposed to sunlight again. And have they survived the lunar night at the South Pole or not? We will find out. And if they do, that will really be big news. By the way, I heard a little news snippet about some of the findings about water on the moon. Is it's not as old as they thought the water was. The ice is buried underneath there, they think is not maybe 1 billion years old, but might be like 500,000 years old. And that's a big difference, they say, in where we might be able to find it and how we can use it, planning on all this Artemis stuff, going back to the moon and making a base camp at the South Pole. China's wants to extract that water at the poles that's frozen under the soil and take the regolith, the soil of the moon, they call it regolith, and make Lego bricks out of it. So every time we learn something, though, we find out exactly how much we don't know. Well, the shuttles of the month of September are still got quite a few of them to launch. So we've got September, we've got 3 left to launch, 86, 26, and 68. They're the last 3 at the bottom. 68's our good friend Mike Baker. Bakes did a great interview with us. You can see on our Stay Curious library that's on YouTube. 11 shuttles. Oddly, no flights for Columbia or Challenger in the month of September. Of course, Challenger had 10 flights. Columbia had how many flights? Where's my shuttle scroll? I'm going to dig that out. Good excuse to get my scroll. We got 4 for Atlantis, 4 for Discovery, and 3 for Endeavor in our month here. And let's see. Orbiter 0102 had 28 missions. So, 28 missions and none of them in September. And that's my official shuttle scroll there. So, 65 astronauts can say they were floating in space on this month of September. Terry Wilcutt has 2 missions in the month. 5 women orbited Earth, including Mae Jemison, the first African-American woman to orbit there in the middle, STS-47. And we had 2 dockings with the Mir space station. Okay, yes, STS-79 there and STS-106. Or no, that's STS-79 and 86 there, back to back. One of them dropped off Blaha and picked up Shannon Lucid. That was 79. The other one picked up Mike Full and dropped off David Wolf. That'd be 86. 2 hard hat missions, 5 science payloads, Space Lab J, which is Japan there in the middle, 47, and 1 TDRS, Tracking Data Relay Satellite, was launched. And those are so important to the communication systems for the shuttle there. So that's your shuttles of the month of September there. We love showing them to you and talking about them. Here is our graphic about the timelines. And today, the 19th, we had STS-69 land. So we did have 8 shuttles orbiting the Earth for a 3-day period from the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. And then today we've got, on the 19th, we've got 7 shuttles orbiting the Earth, involve over 40 astronauts, and spanned over about the 3-decade era of the shuttle. Well, anybody have any guess up there how many human beings are orbiting the Earth on this date today, Marty? Anybody conjecture a guess there?
Nope, no guesses.
No guesses. All right. Anybody watching? Okay. Hello out there. Hello. Okay, yeah, we know you're watching, and we know now that you can watch anytime you want, and that's good. Tell your friends that they can go to YouTube and see Stay Curious anytime they want. And we've got a lot of great programs without me on them, okay? Ha ha ha. We know we really are proud of the content with our interviews. The space workers are just unbelievable. The more I stay out of the way, the better the programs are, and we're going to be doing that. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody booked this week. I still may scramble to try to get somebody on Thursday. Marty?
Yeah, Mark Usek said 13.
Mark UCX says 13. Well, get that guy a new camera. Yes, that is correct. We have 13 there, Mark UCX. And how many humans have orbited the Earth now since 1961? Care to make a guess at that, Mark? Well, I'll tell you that here in a minute. Well, let's look at who's in space right now. We have up there right now these astronauts from the Soyuz MS-22. This is the mission that got stranded up there, remember, because their ride home, that was their ride up, got a leak in it and expelled a lot of it was ammonia. They said it was coolant in there. Okay, so we've got up there now Frank Rubio. Uh-oh. Yeah, I got my message. I got the whole Earth on top of my notes here. All right. We've got Frank Rubio up there for 363 days. 2 days, he's going to spend a full year. He is already NASA's longest duration astronaut in one stint, okay? Peggy Whitson holds the most time in space on all her missions at 600. I think she's up to 675 days because she was just on an Axiom crew that set the ultimate record, Mark UCAC. The ultimate record eclipses the 13 we have up there today. Sergey, there in the middle, he's the commander of Expedition 69 right now. When they come back next week, I think it's around the 27th, they're supposed to come back and they will have spent a full year in space or more. And Dmitry, there on the right, he's a rookie, 363 days in space today. Sergey in the middle has a previous mission. He totals 559 days today. So those are 3 human beings up there. Then we've got this pretty lady up there that's breaking the gender barrier. We do have 2 women up there now on the space station. This is Laurel O'Hara. Laurel was launched 4 days ago on a Soyuz rocket with 2 other Russians. Laurel is from Houston, Texas. She grew up in Sugar Land, Texas, so she is no stranger to the space program. She is a Purdue Knot and also a UK, University of Kansas graduate there. I'm seeing where she got a master's degree in science, and she was participating in the NASA Academy at the Goddard Space Flight Academy and an internship at Jet Propulsion Lab. All right. So she was jostled around a little bit in her training, and finally she's up on MS-24, which is the designation of the Soyuz that took her up there. And there she is on the far right. And the commander of that flight, they're going to stay up there 6 months. This is their 4th day. But Oleg Kononenko on the left, this is his 5th space flight and his 740th day in space. He's been up in space now. It'll end up being over 2 years total in there. And Nikolai Chubb, he's there, and he's a rookie, and it's his 4th day. So Laurel and Nikolai there added 2 astronauts to our total since Yuri Gagarin in 1961. And of course, she clicked off another woman in space. What is that number, folks? Marty, a comment?
Yeah, okay, we have Space Monkey said 420.
Space Monkey 420, okay.
Mark Usek 600.
Mark UCX 600.
And Amy Collins somewhere around 670 for suborbital, 610-ish for orbit. But also, Mark, one minor correction. This is not since 1961, but since all of eternity.
That's correct. That's exactly right. All eternity, paying homage to the great Hugh Harris, who coined that phrase for us at a shuttle fest. Thank you, Marty. Well, okay, Space Monkey, you are way off. Okay. But Amy and Mark Usiak are in the ballpark there. Uh, but let's continue with our Crew 7 is up there orbiting Earth with Jasmine Mogbelli there up in the upper left. She's the commander. They've been up there 24 days, Marty, just under a month when we launched them off the Space Coast here. You've got Andreas Morgensen. He's been in space before, 10 days prior to this. Uh, and Satoshi Furukawa at the bottom left is his 991st day on his. He was on a long duration space flight, and then Konstantin Borisov. This is his 24th day, and he was a rookie. All right, so Jasmine Mobili and Borisov there added two to the total a month ago on there. And who we forgetting out? Who we leaving out? Let's see. So we got 4 and 6 is 10. So UCX said 13. That's right. They're human beings, even though they're Chinese, our adversaries. It could be our adversaries in space. They are having a very reinvigorated space program. They've done amazing things in the last decade, including land on Mars at their first attempt with a rover and a stationary lander that's defunct now. They landed on the backside of the moon. And there's these 3 tachionauts orbiting Earth. Left is young Haiping, his 150th day, his 4th flight. He was the second Chinaman in space. Wao Ha-Chu, 112 days, and Zhao Yangzhu is 112 days in space there. They've been up there a little over 3 months, or not quite 3 months up there. They're going to stay about 6 months up there. So yes, the total is 13 humans orbiting the Earth, 11 men, 2 women. And that, by our reckoning, here at the American Space Museum, comes up with 606 astronauts. All right. Amy said 610. UCX said 600. And Amy Collins estimated 670 with the Karmanauts. That is a phrase that Marty coined that we like. Suborbital, there's about 47 to maybe 50 suborbital there. That's the asterisk there. I need to go back and recount those. Bill Harwood says I'm within 1 or 2 people. The Dean of Space Writers for CBS. 606 astronauts, 75 women. If you go to Wikipedia and count them all, which I'm threatening to do again, okay, let me know, because we do want to be right. But this is in the ballpark, okay? And in 62 years, I say that's it? Really? I mean, you know, I'm a space baby and I've been alive since every human being's orbited the Earth, to put it one way or the other. If you're 22 years old, you've never breathed a breath on Earth that somebody's not living off the Earth in our space station. I think that's cool. Robert Law knows that. Robert, do you like my numbers here? Cynthia Rossi, we love you watching. Dave Stangy's with his granddaughter, who's obviously the youngest fan of Stay Curious. Shoot me her name, Dave Stangy, your beautiful little granddaughter there. She looks about 9 months old. Doug Forrest is watching. Thank you, Space Monkey, for watching. Mark Usiak, Amy Collins, and Tom Usiak, we've mentioned them. And Carlton Bailey. Carlton didn't make any jokes or guesses, huh, Marty? Okay, all right. He's behaving himself today. All right. Well, that's that. I always like looking back at what's happening in space. Okay, and you've got an app for that. You can look and see when the International Space Station is coming over. And I saw it the other night. It's just spectacular to see it go overhead and wave at those 10 astronauts, 2 women, 8 men on our International Space Station, and we have the 3 tachionauts on the Russians. So we want to constantly remind you about them up there. Well, as we're winding down, Stay Curious here, we want to promote somebody that we really appreciate promotes our show, and that on the left is Nick Thomas. Yes, the astronaut wrangler Nick Thomas, the first time he met Gordon Cooper. Mercury astronaut Gordo there on the right. Nick in 1971 looking handsome and thin, and just like we all did back then, Marty. Of course, you're still thin and handsome, Marty. Me and Nick are the ones that have gone to pot. And but looking good there, Nick. He's going to be on our show Monday, okay? And 9:25, Nick's going to give us review some of the astronaut stories from the shuttles of the month of September, and review a little bit GT Gemini Titan 11 with Dick Gordon and his buddy Pete Conrad. And if you missed them, you got to go see Terry White's story episode. We talked about space debris that hit the orbiter, hit the windows, hit the wings, hit everything up there. In fact, I didn't know it, but I learned that they flew the orbiter in reverse, Marty, with the aft end facing east as it went around, so in case it would hit any big chunks of debris. And then we had and we appreciate everybody who's commented they enjoyed our conversation with Tom Jones. What a gentleman, what an A-list astronaut, and what stories he has to tell in his books, including the new one, Space Shuttle Stories, that we know some of you have already lined up and seen. So thank you, Tom Jones and Terry White and Nick Thomas, for supporting the American Space Museum. Well, has the economy got you down? Is the politics heating up? Got you kind of like wanting to go hide somewhere? All right, well, turn off that TV and go outside, okay? That's where you want to hide. You're going to see the beautiful crescent moon. You can still see at 9 o'clock at night from your backyard. The Milky Way is beautiful overhead. This is a week ago out at Herky Huffman Wildlife Natural Preserve between Orlando and Melbourne. And not very dark there, but still to get some starlight there. One of those, that bright star in the center is not a star, Marty. That's a star cluster in this 30-second exposure into the constellation in the tail of Scorpio and the teapot of Sagittarius there. But I'm serious when I say to get you a little starlight out there. The summer triangle that I show here on the horizon like it rises in the springtime. Deneb, Vega, and Altair are three beautiful stars that Vega is 1,200. Deneb is 1,200 light years away from us, the one on the left. 1,200 light years over. It's over 2,000 light years away. The light that hit us was 2,000 years ago. Vega's light that hit us, as I show them, Deneb's light in the middle there left that star 2,000 years ago. Vega's light on the right left 16 years ago, and Altair's left about 40 years ago. So we're literally looking back in time. You can ponder, wow, we haven't found planets around these three bright stars that make the triangle. See up there in the upper left-hand corner, it shows you the triangle. But I guarantee you that when you contemplate the fact that actual starlight is hitting the back of your eyeballs, because that's what light is. It is a wavelength like radio waves and colors, and it is a particle like ping pong balls that bounces off walls and gets the light. That's how it gets underneath your door at night to go into your room and illuminate your room after your eyes dark adapt. So get you some starlight into your body. It'll do you good, help you mellow out and enjoy life a little bit. And then you can go back inside and take on the world. So, well, thank you everybody for watching. Marty, anything that we need to button up over there that we've left open, so to speak?
We're good to go.
All right. Well, we thank everybody for watching and being involved with our astronauts. Think about these human beings in orbit, living their dream and living that dream to improve humanity in everything they do. Well, until tomorrow, I'm Marquette saying thank you for watching. We will do it all again to bridge the space between us.